After the US started its military operations and the Taliban were deposed from power, they turned into an insurgent force and continued the deadly attacks, destabilizing the subsequent Afghan governments. They were aided in this by Pakistan. The Taliban continued its guerrilla warfare, and after 2014, when the USA's allies ended their combat mission, started gaining momentum. In 2018, a report from BBC found out that Taliban were active across 70% of Afghanistan. As Taliban started seizing more territory, violence increased and US wanted to withdraw its military. For this, the US attempted to jumpstart the negotiations. These efforts culminated in a deal with Taliban in February 2020, which was ironically called as the Agreement for Bringing Peace to Afghanistan. Now, what was this deal? The major point of the deal are that Taliban will prevent anyone from using Afghan soil to threaten the United States and its allies and enter negotiations with other Afghan sides to forge an Afghanistan that is at peace with itself. In return, the US promised to withdraw its military forces from Afghanistan. This agreement was seen by the Taliban as a victory over America. In the agreement, the US could not extract concrete commitments from Taliban for any kind of political settlement in Afghanistan. The Taliban did not even agree for a ceasefire. The US just focused on saving its tail and withdrawing its presence from Afghanistan. It was committed by the US in the deal to withdraw its troops by May 1st, 2021, which got further extended to September 11th. This emboldened the Taliban. They wondered if they could defeat a superpower, the Afghan National Army could not be much of a challenge. The Taliban started its offensive, and one by one, major cities, Ghazni, Lashkargah, Mazar-e-Sharif, fell to it. How did Afghanistan fall so fast? US intelligence reports had predicted that fall of Afghanistan will be around 3 to 4 months, but it came down crumbling like house of cards. Why did this happen? One reason is the Afghan National Army. They could not even put up a fight. The US never really trained the army with the capability of defending the territory. Most of its efforts went into grooming the special forces units meant to recover the targets of urban terrorist attacks, at which they acquitted themselves admirably but did not have any offensive capabilities. It was already overstretched, limited on resources, and more importantly, it was a demoralized army post the deal between the US and the Taliban. Since US was withdrawing, the challenge of US Air Force had also disappeared. The Afghan Air Force was poorly manned. There are even reports of Taliban selectively killing pilots of the Air Force. The Taliban even allowed the Afghan troops to walk away freely if they surrendered. So, the army had two choices before them: either surrender and save their lives, or fight for a corrupt and directionless government. In most cases, they chose the first option. And within matter of weeks, Taliban overran the whole country. Political analysts had expected Taliban to take control, but the speed with which Taliban overran the whole country came as a surprise. This has now created a humanitarian challenge, with people trying to flee the country in desperation. People have been displaced from their homes, and this can create a huge catastrophe. You guys must have seen the videos of the Kabul airport. People are helpless. They anticipate violence and political persecution by the Taliban. What explains this sudden withdrawal by the US? After all, it paid for the rebuilding of Afghanistan in blood and money. Experts believe that after the fall of Soviet Union and the end of Cold War in 1991, US really did not have any motive in the strategic importance of Afghanistan. The US never really invested in the economy or democracy in these 20 years, as it did after the Second World War in Western Europe. While some say it is because of fatigue from an endless war. There are some realist scholars that point out that this withdrawal might be because of a calculated decision from United States for destabilizing the region to keep China, Russia and even possibly Pakistan in check by using these religious extremism and terrorists. Why would it legitimize the Taliban, the very force which it had intended to finish off? These are some of the questions that only time will tell. Hope you guys liked the video. See you in the next one.